So, children, now let us see the icebreakers. The icebreakers are important as they give an insight of the poem's theme. So, let us see the answers. Discuss with your partner the difficulties that you face while commuting to and from the college by public transport. What are the difficulties that you face while traveling through public transport? So we can write that buses are not on time, delayed, breakdown. There is no fixed schedule for the using public transport. Transporting vehicles are overcrowded most of the times. If you miss any transport, there is no other vehicles. As most of us, while coming to the college, we travel through buses or any other common vehicle which we get. So now let us see the next one. The similar problems are faced by other commuters on the way to their workplace. Imagine their plight and suggest three solutions. Now you have to give three solutions. First one is given to you, giving them your place to sit. You can write second that you can offer them lift. The third one, making way for senior citizens or women. And the fourth one, you can give that you can stop any vehicle for them. Now the next activity, complete the following. First one is given to you. There are two columns A and B. The way our elders take care of us, and in B column it is given the way you take care of elders in your family. Now in A column you can write love and protect us. So in B column it is written then help them in daily chorus. So in A column you can write the second point, support and guide us. Third one, provide with pocket money. And in the B column you can write the second option as help in handling new technology. Help them, the elders, or take them to the doctor or wherever it is necessary. Now the next question is write your duties towards the following. There are two charts given to you. First is the family towards your parents. So towards your parents, what duties do you have? We have to learn from them. We have to treat them with respect and dignity. And the third is we have to obey them. For siblings, we teach them. Then we have to guide them wherever they require our help. We have to even listen to them. Sometimes listening to your siblings is equally important. Either way, either you are an elder brother or an elder sister or a younger brother or younger sister. Towards your grandparents, what duties do we have? Listen to them carefully as their experiences are far more helpful to us. Making time for our elder parents, then learning from them what is required. Now, what types of duties do you have towards your school or college? From teachers, we learn most of the things. So, we have to learn them from them patiently and we have to communicate whenever required. If you have any problems, you have to communicate and solve them with the help of your teachers. Next is giving your best because a teacher invests a lot of his efforts and his knowledge in you. So, it is your duty to give him the best you can and prove yourself. Now, as a classmate, what duties do you have towards your other classmates? You have to lead them, you have to help them, you have to guide them. This is the most important quality that each must of you possess. You should help your classmate if it is he is weak in some subject. You have to help him, you have to guide that particular person. Be a nice friend, listen to their problems and solve them in the most better way possible. This poem is taken from Traveling in a Cage, collection of poems by the poet Dilip Chitre. This poem is about a man from a metropolitan city and his monotonous life. It discusses the themes of alienation, estrangement of a person. It also discusses how a man's life has turned into an exile. This person is also a father, and at home there is no different story. He is detached from his family. He finds that his children neither talk with him, neither share their secrets. His life at his home is completely same as his life is monotonous and boring. This poem is about the man's monotonous life, how he fails to be in contact with the world and his family. Dilip Chitre is a celebrated bilingual poet and a remarkable translator who has done remarkable work in Marathi as well as English language. His versatile creativity extends in painting, filmmaking, magazine columnist, a teacher, and a remarkable poet. He has received the prestigious Sahitya Akademi Award for poetry as well as translation work. The popular works include the 17th century translation of Marathi Bhakti poet Sant Tukaram, published as Says Tuka. He has also translated some of the Bhakti Geets of Sant Jnaneshwar. The poet's excellence is in his writing and use of imagery which triggers human emotions. Father returning home. My father travels on the late evening train, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. His shirt and pants are soggy, and his black raincoat stained with mud, and his bag stuffed with books is falling apart. His eyes, dimmed by age, fade homeward through the humid monsoon night. Now I can see him getting off the train. Like a word dropped from a long sentence, he hurries across the length of the grey platform, crosses the railway line, enters the lane. His chappals are sticky with mud, but he hurries onward. Home again, I see him drinking weak tea, eating a stale chapati, reading a book. He goes into the toilet to contemplate man's estrangement from a man made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink, the cold water running over his brown hands. A few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. His sullen children have often refused to share jokes and secrets with him. He will now go to sleep, listening to the static on the radio, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. See the explanation of the poem. See, the title itself, Father Returning Home, is about the poet's father who is returning home. Now, as we have discussed in the theme is the monotonous life of the father, the boring life of the father. Now, as I read, my father travels on the late evening train. Now, the timing when this particular person's father is returning back to home is in the evening. Here, evening also suggests the age of that particular person. This means the poet's father is very old, standing among silent commuters in the yellow light. Now, that particular, the person, the passengers, the person is traveling with the passengers, the fellow passengers are standing very silently. This means that his monotonous, boring life, the people he is seeing in his life are so common now that he does not want to speak to them. There is nothing new in his life now. When you travel from a particular place, maybe by the bus or maybe in another vehicle, and if you are seeing those people daily, the thrill of looking at that people goes away. There is nothing interesting in that. So he thinks now his life has become very boring now. Traveling with the fellow passengers again and again for many years has made his life so boring that he does not have any interest in talking with them. So the word here used is silent commuters in the yellow light. The light is very dim. You can say it is maybe the evening time. Okay? See here. Suburbs slide past his unseeing eyes. As I have explained that this particular poet has used various images. The images used by the poet are meaningful. The poet does not use any images for fun. See, unseeing eyes, that means because of his old age, he does not have any interest in seeing those things. When you travel through the road again and again and again for many years, you don't find anything attractive or anything exciting in that. If you are driving to a road you have never traveled before, you are very excited about that. But this particular person is traveling through the train, is coming with the following passengers, is traveling with the following passengers, and all the things which is seen on that particular reed are so familiar with it that he has no interest in watching them. As we proceed, see, his shirt and his pants are soggy and his black raincoat stained with mud and his bag stuffed with books. Now what do we see here? We see that his shirt and pants are soggy. That means soggy here means they are wet. His shirt and pants have become wet because of the rain. So that means the time or the season which we are talking right now is the monsoon season. This particular poet's father is returning home during the monsoon and his clothes have become wet now. And his black raincoat. His black raincoat means the color of the raincoat is black. The raincoat he is wearing is stained with mud. And his bag stuffed with books. So this particular old person is coming, his father is returning from his office and there are lots of books in his bag. Now this is where we are talking about the appearance of the particular person. How is he? He is old. He is very old. His eyes are become dim now. His eyesight is poor because of his old age. How is his appearance? His clothes have become wet because of the rain. He is wearing a black color raincoat and his raincoat is stained with mud. And his bag is stuffed with books. Is falling apart. Means see, at this particular age, when we are talking about the theme of isolation, we see that this particular person has no interest in his life. His monotonous and his boring life does not excite him anymore. That's why when people feel depressed and when people feel isolated in this whole wide world, they make friends with some particular kind of hobby. We can say that this particular person's father has made friends with books. So his bag is filled with books now. Is falling apart. His eyes dimmed by age. Because of his age, the person's eyesight has become poor now. Fade homeward through the humid monsoon light. What do we see here? He is coming toward, this particular person is rushing towards his home now. And his eyes have become dimmed by the age. Now I can see him getting off the train like a word dropped from a long sentence. Such a powerful sentence is this. This particular person is seeing at his father who is returning home from the train, and while getting off the train, he has used this particular phrase. He says that like a word dropped from a long sentence with such a ease. His life is so boring that nobody cares about him anymore, nor he cares about his life. And just with an ease he gets off the train without letting anybody know, or anybody does not care about him. He hurries across the length of the grey platform. See, he hurries across the length of the grey platform. Now why has the poet given the platform color grey? Is this particular grey color suggests two things. The first thing is about the old age of the particular person. And just that path is so particular, that is so familiar with that platform, that he knows about the color. It can also be that because of his old age, his eyesight has become dim now. So the color which he sees around is grey. Crosses the railway lines, enter the lane. He crosses the railway lines, he crosses the path and he moves towards his home now. His chappals are sticky with mud and he hurries onward. This particular, we are talking about the appearance of this particular person. He is an old age person. He is returning home from his work, and his chappals, what's the color? His chappal are stained with mud, sticky with mud. So we are talking about the old boring life of a person. He does not care what he is wearing. He is not caring about the people around. He is not caring. He does not know anything about what's going on around. He is so familiar with the things that he is just living his boring life. He is just moving around. But he hurries onward. Means that this particular person wants to just reach his home. See, home again, I see him drinking weak tea. Now here, such a powerful line this is, home again. That means he has returned home now. I see him drinking weak tea. Now when we drink tea, it's actually strong tea, or we drink strong coffee. But here we are talking about, I see him drinking weak tea. How can the tea be weak? This particular line suggests his relationship with his family. He's drinking a cold tea, I think. Maybe nobody at his home cares about him. That's why he's drinking very weak tea or cold tea. Eating a stale chapati, reading a book. See, this line is so important. Eating a stale chapati, that this particular person's relationship with the world is so monotonous, is so boring. But we expect that when he goes home, people will welcome his children may welcome his wife will welcome him, somebody at his home will welcome him. But the story at his home is completely different. We are talking about isolation, depression that has come because of his man-made world. We see that at his home there is no different story. The story is same. He finds himself as a very boring person, and at his home there is nobody to care for him. So when he comes at home, he is welcomed by not by a strong tea but a weak tea, and he's eating a stale chapati. That means whatever food, no, there is nobody at his home who's willing to actually cook the food or give him hot food or fresh food, and he's reading a book. Now see, he goes into the toilet to contemplate. In the olden times, whenever the people used to have some free time, they used to be happy in the toilets. Okay, we are talking about that he's reading a book, so he's going to think about that, and because of the world around him, nobody is giving him importance. He finds his life very boring. He's going inside the toilet to think deeply about life. Man's estrangement from a man-made world. Very powerful line again. Man's estrangement means, see, man has become so lonely in his own world. We are talking about here two things. The first is his monotonous life, his workplace, and second is his relationship with his family. Here, man's estrangement from a man-made world, his own world, his family, his children. This is the relationship. His relationship with them is so boring that nobody is welcoming him. Nobody is happy to see him. And this particular line suggests that man's estrangement. Estrangement here means alienation. He's fallen apart his own man-made world. Coming out, he trembles at the sink. When he's out of the toilet, there is a sudden push in his body, and because of his old age, he's come trembling. When he's slowly shaking, his hands are shaking, and he's come to the sink, maybe to wash hands. The cold water running over his brown hands. Now, the water is very cold, and brown hands here suggests the old age of that particular person. A few droplets cling to the graying hair on his wrist. So when you are young, the color of the hair on your hand or many parts of your body is black, but when you turn old, the color starts to fade away. Now the color of his hand is brown and the color of the hair is grey. That means that this particular person is very old. A few droplets cling to the grey hair on the wrist. A few droplets have come on the wrist, and this particular thing suggests that he is very old. And he's shaking, he's wobbling, he's coming. His sullen children have often refused to share. We are talking about the stage in the human life where he's no more young, he's no more an outgoing person. He's become very old now. And his sullen children here means his bad-tempered children or his children who don't want to share anything with their father. As I have already told in the initial stanza, that when he comes home, there is a different story at home. Nobody welcomes him, everybody welcomes him. Actually, nobody welcomes him. He's drinking a very weak tea, he's eating a stale chapati. Nobody's talking with him. And here we can see that his relationship with his family is also not different. He feels alienated, he feels that he's on an exile. He's living his lonely, boring, dull life. And we can see that how, because of this particular thing, that at his home nobody gives him importance. His children are so sullen. His children find their father so boring because of his old age. This is because of the generation gap that we have between two generations, that his children also don't give any importance to his father. Jokes and secrets with him. See, his sullen children often refused to share jokes and secrets. When we were small, we used to share everything with our parents. But with age, suddenly there is secrecy in our life. When we turn teenagers, when we turn to adulthood, we often stop sharing these particular things with our parents. This is the same thing that is happening with him. At his family, at his home, there's a different story with him. And because of this particular thing, that his children are not sharing anything with him. He feels that he is isolated. He feels that there is depression in his life. And because of this particular behavior of his children with him, he feels that he is very isolated. See, he will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radio, dreaming of the ancestors and grandchildren thinking of nomads entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. These 4 lines are very important. Now, after this, having this behavior, this monotonous life, after living that life, he has returned home, and the way his children are behaving with him, after having his food, now he is going to go to sleep. And while going to sleep, he is going to be thinking about the old nomadic life. Nomadic life here means his old life. This is the most important thing of this particular poem, that the person feels isolated. He feels alone. When there are so many people around him, still he feels so isolated. His children are not giving him importance. He does not have any interest in life now. And he's thinking, while going to sleep, he's thinking about his life. His old days, when in the older times, if you are born and brought up in the rural areas, you can understand this thing, that when we live in the rural area, we share everything with the people around us. But if you are living in a metropolitan city, you are so busy with our life that we stop sharing things with our loved ones, with our close ones, maybe even your parents. So this is the message of the poet, maybe, that we should start sharing, we should start thinking. He will now go to sleep listening to the static on the radio. In the older times, there were radios, there were no TVs. Okay, so he will listen to some news or maybe some music on the radio, and he will go to sleep, dreaming of his ancestors and grandchildren, thinking of nomads. Nomads means ancestors, old people, entering a subcontinent through a narrow pass. He will think about those people, those old times, and he will contemplate on that. Means he will be happy in his mind that in his dream maybe he will talk to people, maybe the people will give him importance. So this particular poem is very important because it teaches us some very important things in life, that whether we should live our life in a monotonous or boring way, or we should live our life completely. This particular poem is about the 3 things that we learn, that life has become so busy now, we have become so busy in our life that we have stopped giving importance to our parents, we have stopped giving importance to our loved ones. Now this particular poem, now we'll see the appreciation and the brainstorming.